Guys, welcome back to Sending Off Sports. I know previously we were sending off football, only covering soccer, but due to a lot of fan requests and popular demand, we're going to move on to all sports. And I have Enes Kanter. I have one of my best friends, Christos Tremulis, here to talk about the Knicks and our first basketball installment. How do you feel to be on Sending Off Sports?
It's an honor. I've been watching from back home, so to finally make an appearance on the show. It's a good time.
All right, so basically what we're going to talk about, and we're going to do more NBA previews, but we are from New York, and we're going to talk about the Knicks, what we expect from this upcoming 2018-2019 season. So what do you expect seeding-wise? Where do you expect them to finish?
I'm going to say probably around the 10th spot. I don't think they get in the top 8 of the East.
Yeah, definitely not the playoffs. To be honest, I could see them finishing 14th. I don't want to underrate them, but I'm coming from the perspective that I think they should be as patient as possible with Kristaps, and we're going to touch on that more. But I'm assuming that Kristaps, this season's just going to be a wash, and you just need to make sure you get him healthy. I know he's in line for the contract extension coming up pretty soon, but you just want to have him healthy and hopefully make a splash in the free agency next summer.
Yeah, 100% agree in the point, but New York fans, how hard-headed they are, how they want to win right away.
Of course.
I mean, looking at the team, there's not a lot you could do with them, but we're not, New York fans aren't really ones for tanking, Yeah. We're not just going to sit back and take it. We're going to try to win.
I mean, to be honest, I don't want to say they're doomed, but I think the Knicks, as long as you have James Dolan, that guitar playing incompetent, you know what, I just think that when Phil Jackson, when he got fired, pretty much, he got a severance package of 24 million. Actually, it's either 24 or 40 million. They gave him a lot of freaking money just to send them off. So I'm not feeling good about him. But let's talk. Let's start from the top on the actual hands-on stuff. What do you think about David Fizdale?
David Fizdale, he's definitely a well-respected coach. Yeah. I think me and you, we touched on this before the show, but Mark Jackson was definitely
I think Fizdale, in terms of the best candidates, he was definitely the 1A. I like Fizdale a lot, but I think Mark Jackson would have been the perfect man for
New
that
York
guy.
Born. He went to St. John's University. Shout out to Johnny's. I think he was just the man for the job, especially playing for New York as well.
Yeah, he got a bad rep after his stint with Memphis. He was scapegoated, and after Memphis sucked, and it wasn't. I'm not going to say it wasn't Fizdale's fault because he's the coach, but he had a bad relationship with the team's star Marcus Gasol. And, he got scapegoated. But you talk to a lot of players throughout the league, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James. I was just talking to them last week. But no, a lot of players do have a lot of good things to say about Fizdale. And I think a very important part of establishing this new New York Knicks culture, first of all, he went to Latvia to visit Porzingis. He was out there with his family, and they were talking, it wasn't so much basketball, even though, of course, it came up. It was more just to get to know him and, the coach getting to know their best player, which...
I definitely love that from the head coach.
Yeah, that's essential.
100%.
Especially going to a place like Latvia. God knows what happens in a nation like that. All right, so with Porzingis, like I said before, he's up for a 5-year, $157 million extension. So... definitely the best plan of action with the Knicks is to be patient. I'm saying I'd even be open to not playing him the entire year. What do you think about that? His timetable is expected to return sometime in December.
Yeah, but we want to see him play. He's our star. He was an all-star last year. We want to see him back on the floor, and we're not patient when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
So,
but don't you think that's one of the biggest problems with New York media and New York fans? That New York Knicks, Knicks tape, a lot of Knicks fans, and I'm going to speak from the perspective of someone who's not a diehard Knicks fan. To be honest, I'm more of a Bron fan. I know a lot of people that hate to hear that, but it does also make me unbiased. So I think, to a fault, a lot of Knicks fans are always trying to rush people in. If a draft pick gets picked, you have kids booing. You got to be more supportive of the team. You got to let people grow into the role, and also that starts from the coaching staff too. Like Fizdale, if they suck for the next 2 seasons, I don't think you boot him out unless something crazy or some crazy story.
Yeah, exactly. Look what happened down in Philadelphia. They're putting the faith in Brett Brown. Yeah, you see his overall record.
No, 100%.
Now, season, now they're competitive.
Now, 100%.
Now they're forcing these.
Exactly. Being patient with certain stars that are out there could always pay dividends. All right, so let's talk about more. Before we get to the off-season acquisitions, let's talk about the Knicks roster and who do you see especially with Porzingis. He's going to be out for around half of the season. Who do you see stepping up? Because for me, I think the perfect guy that can carry on the blueprint for Fizdale and this new culture is Enes Kanter. And like, you know, I'm not saying that just because you kind of look like. I'm saying that because I you know, everyone speaks about this guy. You saw him against Golden State when he was with the Thunder. You know, when Russell Westbrook and KD were barking at each other, he's barking right back at KD. He's a great teammate.
100%.
With Frank Nicolita.
Yeah,
saw what he did with
LeBron,
the world's best player. So who do you see? Yeah, who do you see playing big roles and stepping up for this Knicks team? And you know, just looking at the roster right now.
I mean, we don't really have that much talent right now, but I'm putting all my praise probably on Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox, yeah. So
you know, you saw what he did in the summer league.
Yeah.
Kid is just 18 years old.
Yeah. No, yeah.
He'll be 19. I think it's August 11th. So.
Yeah. So that's the ninth overall pick in this past draft. 18 years old. And over 4 games in the summer league, he averaged 21.3 points on 35% shooting, which isn't great at all. Yeah. But you know, most players will only get better at shooting. That's one of those attributes you could work on. 2.3 assists and 6.5 rebounds. He's 6'9". So I mean, I think certain players, you can tell when they have a certain factor to them. You know, when they go up, even dunking the ball, you can tell with a lot of players. Like we've seen some
finishing everything.
We've seen some good players who, like, certain guys will just, like, you know, whatever, throw it in the cup. Some guys will finish with authority, and we saw him go coast to coast. So we know he's a very talented
You love
kid.
that. You love that. Just 18 years old. You see in that.
No, 100%. So what do you think about Frank Nicolita? Because I've spoken to a lot of people about him. A lot of people are, you know, split on him. I remember when he first got drafted, and the Knicks picked him over
Dennis Smith.
Dennis Smith Jr. There was a lot of talk, and LeBron spoke on that. And one of our friends, Mitch, he was saying, no, they definitely made the right choice picking Frank. But I think sooner, you know, as time has passed, he's realized, okay, maybe not. What do you think about Frank? He's more of a defensive player.
You know me from the time we played in high school. I was definitely a defensive-minded player.
Yeah, defensive wizard. No one could score on you.
Okay. He can't shoot the ball.
Yeah.
And you need that in the point guard because they're just going to guard up front. They're
especially in this
defend
league.
The pass,
yeah.
You know? So when you have a point guard like that who can't score the ball, it's not really doing anything for your team. You need probably trade him and get someone who can score the ball.
Yeah.
He's got plenty back there.
As a point guard, Isaiah Thomas says it, the way to find the best pass is to think shoot first. Because that's, you know, if you're a threat, then they're gonna come on you, they're gonna close you down, and then the passing lanes will open up. So 100%. The thing with this Knicks team, I think it's all about patience this year. There's some contracts that are, you know, mind-boggling. You know, Joakim Noah got
100%.
paid all that money, which is just unbelievable. And then you also have Tim Hardaway Jr., who's a good player. I like him. But
very injury prone and
for the money that they're paying him, 100%. You know, it's the new NBA, it's the new market. It seems like prices for these players and the values of these players are all skyrocketing with all the money coming into the game. But you know, so that's the biggest thing. So now we spoke about Kevin Knox. Let's talk about the 2 other acquisitions this offseason. First, Noah Vonleh.
Noah Vonleh. So, you know, not great numbers, but his per 36 was actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
So, you know, he averaged 10.9 points. 12.8 rebounds and every 30 minutes. That's a pretty decent number. That's
I think with a player like him, you know, he's a former top 10 pick in the 2014 draft.
They both are.
He led the Big Ten in rebounding as a freshman, which is a good feat. And, you know, he's 6'10" with a 7'4" wingspan. This guy has to, like, you know, you're not expecting 20, 30 a game from a guy like this. You're expecting, you know, rebound. You know, he could shoot. You know, he played with the Bulls last season. He could shoot a little from the outside. But this is a guy that, you know, hopefully with Fizdale there, getting to develop these players, you can have him around like a 10.11 rebound guy, ideally down the road. But this is a guy who's going to be known as like a rebounder, 100%, and trying to be formidable down low. So now let's talk about the Croatian Mario Hezonja. What do you think about this guy?
I mean, the fact that he's Croatian, definitely not. But
what are you trying to say?
30 starts with the Magic last year.
Okay, yeah.
He's averaging 14 points.
Yeah.
5.6 rebound.
100%. Well, when you look at this guy, he is a 6'8". He has a 6'8" frame, which is something you can't teach. You know, he's a former top 10 pick, known more as a slasher. You know, he started out his career shooting 34% from the 3-point line, dipped down to 29%, But last
We don't
season,
love that.
But last
No.
season he was back up to 33.7. So again, shooting is something you could work on. It's something that to survive in this league and be a good contributor on most teams. That's something that he's going to have to work on. But with Kristaps out, I see him starting. I think you could play him maybe at the 3 and move Kevin Knox to the 4.
I mean, he started on the Magic team. He had 30 starts.
Yeah.
But a key point I want to bring up, these 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
Kids, key word. Kevin Knox, 18. Noah Vonleh, 22.
Yeah.
Mario, he's 23.
Yeah.
Very young team.
No, definitely. There's a lot, and also you have a player like Frank, and I know you're talking about trading him, but there is some potential. There definitely is potential.
If he develops a jump shot, he'll be a very solid
And
point guard.
I really think a player like Enes Kanter is going to be like he's going to play a key role for this team.
100%.
I really believe. I like him a lot. I was there when they played the 76ers on Christmas, and shout out to Ben Simmons. This guy's going to be the next great
Shout out
one.
to Griezmann.
But yeah, I was just watching him against Joel Embiid, and this guy was, I guess it was the competitive factor. He got a little mean streak that game, but this guy was an absolute beast. He had around 31 points, like 23, 24 rebounds. He was a monster down low. So I see a lot of good things. I think he's really going to be the one that's going to motivate this team and like step out as a leader. Hopefully he can light a fire under Kristaps' ass. Kristaps needs to get healthy. He needs to put some weight on,
100%.
for sure, because that's what you see. Even Lonzo Ball, he was hitting the gym. He looks like he's put on a little weight going into this year. So that's the biggest thing, just growing into his body. All right, so now to close, let's talk about the 2019 summer. There's a lot of talk around possibly Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, maybe even KD coming to the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. Do you see any of that happening? What rumors do you buy? What rumors do you not? Enes Kanter was on Colin Cowherd on FS1. He was talking about, and this is a guy who is loyal, and he was going at KD, but still he's like, I want KD, I want to recruit him. So what do you see happening?
You don't love the situation the New York Knicks are in right now. The leadership, back then everyone wanted to play in Madison Square Garden under the bright lights in New York City. But that leadership, no one wants to come play for James Dolan.
Yeah.
No one wants to be on this team.
I'm telling you, that's what it stems down from.
100%. I 100% agree with you. I think until we see that change, all the way at the top, there's no shot we're going to get a big name like that.
Yeah, so the Knicks have denied rumors saying that any of these, free agent acquisitions have stemmed from them. They've said, no, this is not coming from us. It's still very early on. We do have a whole another season to play. Another thing that's pretty interesting, I don't know how much you buy into the social media stuff, but Jimmy Butler liked to comment saying that him and Kyrie should link up in New York. So
I don't know.
Social media has added a whole other aspect to the whole recruitment process and free agency.
I mean, definitely the players have to watch every single move they make. Yeah. But obviously, he's doing it with him seeing, knowing that he could be caught.
These players know.
He's being a dirty little boy,
he's
being naughty.
No, 100%. He is being a little naughty. But I think something we also have to realize, Jimmy Butler, his time in Minnesota, the days are numbered.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler, this is a guy who's known as he grinds. He works hard. He's in great shape. And when he went, a lot of stories coming out of the Timberwolves franchise is that now that he's partnered up with Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, he sees a real lack of drive and a lack of heart. And I think you could see with someone like Andrew Wiggins, who hasn't really panned out to be that number 1 overall pick. He's mellow. No Carmelo Anthony, but he's a bad mellow. And I think that's something that could push him out of New York, out of Minnesota, and hopefully he'll come to the Knicks. Because I'd love to see that.
We're wishing for that.
Yeah.
Looking at the team they have right now, you got Isaiah Hicks. Do you even know who that is? No.
Now I do.
There you go. You got Troy Williams. Some of these names, you have no idea who these people are, and they need a big name.
They really do.
Will it happen? It remains to be seen.
I guess we'll have to find out. All right, thank you, Christos, for joining me on this New York Knicks preview. I'm Andrew Schauder, and this is Sending Off Sports.